Hello, I'm Bjorn, and welcome back to Bjorn Does Movies. I'm back at the prison. We're going back to the Suicide Squad background, because I'm lazy and I didn't want to think of a new one for this. Some of y'all who have clicked on this video are either some random, I don't know how you wound up here, but welcome. You might want to watch the Get Out guys somewhere up here first before you watch this. Just trust me, it's going to help with the context. But you can watch this does stand alone. I just think it's better if you've seen the Get Out guys first. So check that out. It's a DC thing. Clearly you clicked on this because of DC. I can't imagine why else you would have, but welcome to the channel. Sorry to send you down a link tree of other bullshit after saying hello, but you might want to go check that out first. It's pretty fun. For those who are still here, obviously you might be wondering what this is. This is a new type of video on this channel. Typically in the past I've done big writing projects, whole films I write. And I've sort of reached this point recently where I'm in school full-time. For those who don't know, I do school full-time. And it's getting really intense. I'm nearing my senior year. I'm preparing to do some stuff that's very big in my life, and I don't have time. So you may have noticed the videos are coming out more and more slowly. That is why. I just don't have time to write anymore. I have personal projects I tend to focus on. I've got other stuff I'm doing. So I wanted content I could put out between big videos. You know, so that it's just not like what's happening currently is basically my channel goes dead for a month, maybe an occasional movie review, and then a big writing project thing drops, and then you gotta wait a long time. I wanted something to put in between there that wasn't movie reviews or other really sloppy content like that I can make in 10 seconds. I wanted like writing stuff for y'all, because that's what people are here for, let's be honest, I know. So I came up with these shorts. What these are short scripts, probably about 10 to 25, 30 minutes total. I think this one is like 23 minutes total. Something like that. That's before editing. I'm recording this before I edit it down. So probably about 20 minutes. And this particular script covers Mindboggler's origin, as the title says. So the character from the Get Out guys, this is her origin story, or at least a small sliver of it. And so this is some context in her character. I actually think it makes her character more understandable, helps you understand why she is the way she is, at least to a certain extent. It's a brief window into her world. And I plan to do more of these. These are really easy. I wrote this in a day. Like literally I sat down and wrote it in about 3 hours, maybe 2.5. So super easy, doesn't take me very long at all. And I already have a lot of these backstories sort of in my head. So here's a quick schedule of characters that will be getting these. We'll have, coming up closely, unannounced character who I have not revealed yet. It's a character who will be revealed in the script very soon, very, very soon, who's getting a backstory script. It's a DC character. And then we have Ghost Eye Morrison from Deadlands. And then we have Songbird. And here's the rest of them. Check it out. But if you have a character you want to know the backstory to, or more information on, or even a side story, something that a character off-putly mentioned maybe in one of my scripts. I know I put a lot of little things in there that are just like, oh, do you remember in blankety blankety blank? It's just something I bullshit. But if you want me to come up with a backstory there or a story for a particular character, let me know. I'm always open to doing whatever they want. People in the Discord have already given me a bunch, and I've added a few. For example, Inverse Mirror Master will be getting one because someone in the Discord asked for it. So yeah, that's what this is. Without any further ado, here is the first short. I present the Mindboggler origin. We're going to open on a title screen. It says, Mindboggler, Therapy Session Number 1. As the title is on screen, we hear the clicking of a pin. Click, clack. We open up on a room. It's small, with a bookshelf lining one side. A dark-haired woman sits on a leather chair, and we see Mindboggler sitting across from her. She has a massive anti-metahuman collar on, the same ones we've seen in all of like the Suicide Squad stuff. She wears an orange prison jumpsuit labeled Belle Reve. Text on screen says, 2 years before it, the Get Out guys. The therapist clicks her pin again. Click, clack. She says, thank you for joining me today. Mindboggler says, it's not like I have a choice. This is state mandated. They literally drug me in here. Therapist says, still, I appreciate you being here. It's the first step to becoming a better person, Leah. And the first step is always the most difficult. Mindboggler scowls. She says, that's not my name anymore. The therapist says, I know you prefer to go by the Mindboggler now, but I feel referring to yourself with that name is not conducive to helping you get better. I want to help you.
and I'll do anything in my power to achieve that. Prison isn't supposed to be a place where you throw away criminals. Our goal is to rehabilitate you, to make you better, to help you become a functioning member of society. She clicks the pen again, click, clack, and holds it up to her lips as though she's thinking. Then she makes a quick note on her pad of paper. Mindboggler says, "If you are so helpful, why don't you take this color off? It's very uncomfortable, you know." She smiles. The therapist looks at her and lets out a little nervous chuckle. "You know I can't do that, Leia." Mindboggler smiles. "What? Are you afraid I'll enslave your mind?" "What, are you afraid I'll enslave your mind?" "I promise I won't." Therapist says, "Actually, I think that's a good place to start. Why do you feel the need to use your powers so frequently? I've worked with metahumans before, and I've read their records, but you are by far the most frequent user of her power I've ever encountered. You enslave the minds of almost everyone you meet. Everyone around you was a puppet. Why was that?" Mindboggler says, "They were my friends." The therapist says, "I don't think they saw it that way. Can you tell me why you feel the need to control them?" Mindboggler smiles, "'Cause I can." The therapist says, "Let me be more specific. Was there something in your upbringing that caused you to think of others as objects? Have you always thought of people as things to be controlled?" Mindboggler says, "Pretty much. Can I leave now?" The therapist says, "I feel you aren't taking this seriously." Mindboggler shakes her head. "No, I am not." The therapist says, "All right, I'm going to make this simpler. Tell me about your childhood." We're going to cut to a shot of a trailer park. We see text on screen that says, "Quiet Creek, Alabama, 2007. We're going to cut to the inside of one of the trailers. We see a little girl peering around the corner of a doorway. She stares towards a man asleep on the couch. We can tell that this is clearly the inside of a trailer. It's small and tight. The man on the couch snores and drools from his wide open mouth. We see a needle sticking from his arm. Heroin and other drugs litter the coffee table in front of him. We can see lines of cocaine powder. We can see lines of white powder haphazardly laid across the table. Beer cans and bottles litter the floor. In general, the trailer is disgusting. The little girl creeps out of her room and enters the living room of the trailer. We can see her carefully marking her steps, trying to avoid stepping on any bottles or anything that would make noise. She sneaks by her dad and finds her mom lounging on the floor. Her arm is flopped out and we can see all the needle marks. She's clearly high or intoxicated, passed out on the floor. The little girl shakes her lightly to wake her. This little girl, who's obviously a young Mindboggler named Leia, says, "Mom, I'm hungry. I need something to eat. It's been a day." She shakes the mom again. The mom's eyes open up a crack and she says, "Fuck off." She shuts her eyes again. Leia says, "But..." She looks, but her mother is already snoring again with her eyes closed. She's passed out. Leia's stomach rumbles and she looks towards the small kitchen in the trailer. We see her slowly work her way through the piles of trash into the kitchen. She pulls up a chair and climbs up under the counter to dig through the cabinets. We see several used spoons and other drug paraphernalia, as well as some pipes. She carefully opens up the cabinet and we can see it's almost entirely empty. She manages to find a small container of peanuts and takes it. She starts to scarf them down, then creeps past her parents again with a mischievous smile. She goes into the other bedroom. We see her eating her peanuts and digging through her parents' stuff as they sleep. She smiles as she does. She finds a rack of albums. She pulls a few out and ignores them until she pulls out a metal album with a cover featuring a punk girl in black and white. Text above it says, "Mind-boggling," in sort of punkish font. I want this outfit the girl wears obviously to resemble the traditional Mindboggler outfit. She starts to pull the vinyl out from the album cover when we hear a voice. "What are you doing? I told you not to come in here, you little bitch." Leia's eyes fill with fear, and she turns her gaunt face to the doorway, where we see her mother standing there. She's silhouetted by the light outside and cast in shadow. Her hand squeezes into a fist, and she enters the room. We're going to smash cut back to the therapy session. We see Mindboggler say, "It was pretty good. I had a very happy childhood." The therapist says, "You see, that's interesting. That's not what your files say. They say you were taken from your family when you were only 7 years old. They were drug addicts, I believe. There was some physical abuse on record, too. In fact, I found your childhood records quite disturbing. You were taken into the foster care system. Can you tell me, how did that make you feel? Was it better than living with your parents?" Mindboggler says, "Oh, it was great. All foster kids just love the system. I got to visit all these new and exciting places. It was just like traveling the world. If the world was Alabama and Mississippi." The therapist says, "You don't have to treat this sarcastically. I'm here to listen. I'm a friend, Leia." Mindboggler says, "Yeah, I've heard that before. It's bullshit, you know. You are only here because you're being paid. Frankly, it's no different than if I was enslaving your mind. As you said, fake friends, right? You don't even like me. I can see it in your eyes. You're afraid of me." The therapist says, "I do like you. Compared to some of the other inmates, you are, more tolerable." Mindboggler says, "Liar. No one likes me unless I use my powers." The therapist taps her pen again. Click, clack. "Then let's talk about your powers. You got them in high school, correct? At Green Rock High in Mississippi? By all accounts, things seem to be looking up for you. You had a stable foster home and a small town to explore, so help me understand. What led up to the Green Rock incident?" Mindboggler says, "Nothing. I just got my powers and decided to have some fun." The therapist says, "You see, again, I don't believe you. I've told you that you can be honest with me. I am a friend, so I'd like it if you were." Mindboggler's smile turns to a frown, then a snarl. "Nothing happened there. Nothing except for me." We're going to cut to a flashback of high school. We see an older Leia, a teenager, maybe 14, 15, dressed in her traditional Mindboggler outfit. She's at a locker, and she pulls out some books. Two girls pass by her. One of them bumps into her, spilling her books to the floor. As they walk off, we can hear them talk while giggling. "I heard her parents hoard her around for crack money." The other girl says, "I can't believe that. No one would want to sleep with her. Not even a meth head. I mean, just look at her." They laugh to themselves, and Leia watches them with cold eyes. We see a shot of Leia sitting alone at a lunch table. She looks off at the friends in groups, laughing and smiling. We can see in her eyes that she wants that. She longs for it. The two girls from earlier pass behind her, and we hear one of them say, "Why does she even dress like that? It's hideous. And with her face, she needs all the help she can get. She's doing herself no favors." Leia looks over at them, then lets her head flop on the table. We're going to see Leia walking down a concrete street by herself. We see a large church and a couple of small businesses behind her. It's very clearly a small Mississippi town, sort of salt of the earth town. If you've been to the South, you've seen these sort of places before. We eventually see her come into a small 2-story house. We're going to see a shot of her laying in bed, staring at the ceiling. In the background, we can hear a man and a woman in a fight. They're yelling at each other. "I'm telling you, she's just not normal. She doesn't have any friends, and she doesn't leave the house. There's something wrong with her." The woman says, "She's a foster kid, John. God only knows what she's seen. It's just a phase. It'll pass." The man says, "She gives me the creeps. I'm telling you, Martha, there's something off with that girl." The woman says, "You're just imagining it. She's just a little depressed. It'll pass." We're going to cut back to school. We see a montage of Leia being bullied. The girls laugh at her and put things in her bag and locker. Between each bullying incident, we get a shot of Leia sitting alone at the lunch table eating, and a shot of her walking home alone through the town. This repeats over and over again in a montage. Bullying. They hit her. They knock her over. They take her things. She sits alone at lunch. She walks past the church over and over again until finally Leia stops in front of the church. We can see storm clouds gathering in the distance, and the sky grows dark. We see her enter the church, and it's completely empty and relatively small. It's very dimly lit. She works her way up the aisle to the altar. Leia gets down on her knees in front of the cross. We see a large marble statue of Jesus Christ hanging from the cross. He wears the crown of thorns, and blood runs from his cheeks and eyes. We can see tears flowing from his eyes. Leia bows down as if in prayer and puts her hands together. She says, I've never done this before. I've never prayed. And I'm not sure I'm doing this right, but I don't think you care. I just can't take it anymore. They won't leave me alone. I've tried everything, and they just won't stop. I've been having thoughts of doing something bad. To myself or to them, I just don't care. So I'm gonna ask you for help. I just want to be like them. I want to laugh and have friends. I just want what everyone else has. Please, God, help me. Please give me something to help me make friends, something to make me normal. She waits there, hands clasped, eyes closed, and nothing seems to happen. In the background, we hear thunder rumble in the distance. Leia looks around herself, still waiting for a miracle, then stands. She wipes tears from her eyes and begins to leave the church in a hurry, seemingly embarrassed by what she did. As the thunderstorm begins outside, we see her leave the doors out into a rainstorm. We see a shot of the marble statue of Jesus Christ hanging on the cross. Lightning flashes illuminating it in the darkness. We see the scarlet blood stand out, as well as the tears leaving his eyes. We're going to cut to the school. We see Leia sitting alone at the lunch table. Then someone else sits with her. It's Ashley, one of her bullies. Leia says, what do you want? Ashley says, honestly, I just want to say I'm sorry. Leia says, for what? Ashley says, for being such a bitch to you. Look, I did some soul searching last night, and I don't like the way I've been treating you. The other girls feel the same. We were going through some stuff, and we let it out on you. You were new and a foster kid, and I don't know, you seemed an easy target. We want to make it up to you. We're going to ditch class and go smoke weed in the bathroom. Want to come? Leia sounds confused. She says, you want me to come? Ashley says, yeah, that's the idea. If you don't want to be friends, I totally get it. We deserve it, frankly. But we feel really bad about it, and we want to make it up to you. Leia says, no, yeah, let's do it. Ashley smiles. She says, perfect, follow me. We get a few shots of them moving through the hall until they reach the bathroom. Inside, we see the other girl, whose name is Samantha. Samantha says, oh good, she came. Ashley smiles. Yeah, she did. Where's the weed? Samantha says, I left it in the stall over there. Didn't want anyone walking in on the party. Ashley says, oh cool. Help yourself, Leia. It's just in that stall over there. She points to the bathroom stall. Leia nods and slowly approaches it. As she walks up to it, she says, I've never smoked before. How do you do it? The girls both laugh. They say, it's easy, you'll see. She opens up the stall and we see nothing. Then Ashley shoves her from behind. She begins to force her head down towards the toilet. Samantha begins to help. Ashley says, shove her head in it. Leia tries to escape, but the two girls snag her and pull her in. She tries to fight and scream, but no one comes. They take her head and force it into the toilet. They shove it beneath the water. We get shots of her screaming under the water as bubbles escape her mouth. Samantha says, ew, she opened her mouth. That's disgusting. I can't believe she fell for this. They pull her head out of the toilet and we see Leia struggling to catch her breath. She says, stop it. Ashley says, I think she wants some more. They shove her head back down into the toilet. They pull her head out once more and she gasps for air. She says, stop it, please. Ashley says, I think we need to wash her hair out more. How else is she going to get all the grease out? They shove her head down into the toilet once more. And this time, they hold her. She struggles and fights and begins to grow weaker. And then, finally, when she seems like she's going to pass out, they let her up for air. Leia gasps in a breath and weakly says, stop it. The words echo through the room, seemingly louder than they are. Mindboggler uses her powers for the first time. The two girls seem almost frozen in place. Mindboggler slowly stands up and looks at the two girls, frozen in place. She seems confused. Then her eyes grow wide. She thinks for a second and then says, no. She says, Ashley, move your right arm. The words echo. Ashley slowly moves her right arm up. She looks confused. Mindboggler says, Ashley, punch yourself in the face. The words echo, and Ashley does. Mindboggler laughs. Then she says, Samantha, Shove Ashley's head in the toilet. The words echo. Samantha obeys, grabbing Ashley, who doesn't even fight back, and shoves her head down into the toilet. Ashley begins to scream under the water and starts to struggle. She fights and fights more, but Samantha just holds her down without pause. Mindboggler watches, her eyes cold again. She says, "Hold her in. Keep her head down longer." The words echo. Ashley continues to fight and struggle, but she's drowning in the toilet. Mindboggler watches but doesn't interfere. She says, "Have fun in hell, bitch." We see a close-up of Samantha as she continues to hold her friend's head into the toilet. Tears flow from her eyes, and we can see the horror in them. Finally, Ashley stops flailing and falls still. Mindboggler smiles and waits. And then she says, "Pull her out." Samantha does. We can see that Ashley is clearly dead. Her hair a matted and wet mess, and her eyes glazed over. And her face a sort of purple color from the drowning. Water flows from her mouth. We see a shot of Mindboggler watching as the song "In Hell You'll Be in Good Company" by Dead South begins to play. We see shots of Mindboggler walking through the halls, smiling ear to ear. We see attractive men and women fawning over her in her wake. We get montages of her going out with the boys and getting awards handed to her. The principal claps her on the back. She's wearing expensive dresses and eating food laid out before her. We can see she's basically enslaved the entire town in this series of montages. We see her getting nominated for prom queen. Her foster dad approaches her and says, "We're so proud of you, Leia." Things escalate more and more. Everyone seems to be worshiping her. The song reaches its crescendo as we see her laughing while sitting on Samantha's back like it's a throne. And we're going to smash cut back to the therapy session. The therapist says, "Leia, you drifted off. I'll repeat the question. Why do you feel the need to enslave everyone you encounter? What do you hope to get out of it?" Mindboggler says, "Friends. I just want friends. I want people who care about me. I was alone, but I asked for help and I got salvation. With my powers, I could get them wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and I never had to be alone. No one ever hated me when I used my powers." The therapist says, "So this is all about friendship then? You need emotional connections. Have you ever tried making one without your powers?" Mindboggler says, "A long time ago. Didn't work. I was happy outside of this fucking prison, but here I don't have my powers and I have no one. It's almost like back to how I was. I don't like it. I don't like remembering that person." Mindboggler is clearly becoming agitated. Her hands ball into fists. The therapist says, "See, this is something I can help you with. You need to learn how to survive without your powers, how to live in the world without your gifts, to interact with people without enslaving their minds. I can teach you. I would like to see you again in a week. I think I can help you move past several of your issues. We'll make regular sessions of it." Mindboggler says, "Are you serious?" The therapist says, "I am." Mindboggler stands to leave the room. "Well, I don't see why I should bother. I won't be in here long. You'll see. And out there, I won't have to worry about this fucking collar. I'll have my powers again, and Flash won't catch me this time. I learned my lesson on that front." The therapist says, "You say you want people who care for you, but certainly even you must understand that these people you've enslaved don't really care about you. It's a lie, Leia. One you're telling to yourself. Surely you must know that. Those you enslave aren't your friends. If you want real companionship, you'll have to earn it without your powers. Otherwise, you'll still be alone, and nothing will have changed. You'll still be that person you were." Mindboggler looks back at her and frowns, but she leaves the room. We see shots of the guards leading her through the prison. We hear the song "Where's My Mind" by the Pixies begin to play as she's moved through the halls of Bellerive. We see a shot of a couple of cameos, maybe a sports master or a clock king. We see Penny Plunderer in his cell. He yells, "Copper! I need copper! Why the fuck won't they let me have copper?" He raves back and forth, and Mindboggler looks at him and then moves on. Finally, we see her reach a specialized cell and is locked in by herself. We can see soundproof material on the walls, and her cell doors are made of some sort of clear acrylic, which seals perfectly. She sits on her shitty prison bed in her cell by herself. The camera lingers on her with her metahuman collar on as she looks around at empty walls and sparse furniture. We're going to slowly zoom out until we can see the entire cell. with Mindboggler sitting alone, like always. Always alone. And that's the end of the Mindboggler short.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed that. This is sort of an experiment. I've never made a video like this before, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments, because again, it's an experiment. I don't know how this will go over. If you things I can improve, if you want them to be longer, shorter, let me know. Don't ask me to write full-length movies for these. That's not happening. I couldn't do it. So I don't want them that long. But let me know what you thought about the length and the content. And also, any ideas, as I mentioned before. I'm going. Let me briefly talk about stuff I got coming out, since this is sort of an update video. I haven't made one in a while. This coming Tuesday, I have a huge video. I'm not going to lie, it's my best video I've ever made. I know a lot of you are going to be thinking I'm kidding because it's coming out on April Fool's Day. Obviously, it's an April Fool's Day video. It's coming out on April Fool's Day, but here's the thumbnail. Look, I'm doing the Justice League. This is not a joke. 100% serious this time. I know I lied last time and the time before that, but this time I'm 100% serial, guys. I wrote a Justice League script. I'm outlining a Justice League script. I couldn't have possibly finished the script before April Fool's Day. That would be crazy, huh? That'd be nuts. I wouldn't have that done already. But we're going to introduce the characters, my Justice League. I've read a ton of Justice League comic books over the last little bit. I actually don't read comics, for those who don't know, very often. I usually pick a topic and then I do a deep dive into it. Same thing I did with the Suicide Squad, Thunderbolts. The Get Out Guys is my own thing, but it's really just Suicide Squad and stuff. Justice League Dark, I didn't really know that much about them until I did a huge deep dive on them. So, anyway, I've been reading a bunch of Justice League comics, and I've got a really fun story to tell. So tune in live. Trust me, you want to watch that one live. It's going to go over better live. You can believe me, because people are going to be in there. For those who've watched my previous April Fool's Day videos, you know how fun they are live. We'll put it that way. This is the most work I've ever put into a video. I've been working on it for about a month and a half. That's not an exaggeration. That's not even including writing time. This has been something I've been planning forever. So please check that out live. I don't know what time it'll go up. It will premiere. I'll try to do it. Let me know in the comments also, after adding all of those other things to your comments, all of the 27 replies to the comments, go ahead and tack on when you think I should premiere this, so I know when the most people are going to be available. I want y'all to watch this live. Let's just put it that way. I'll put a poll up for the same reason sometime. Maybe tomorrow as of recording this thing. So thank you for watching. Sorry for all the yapping. I've got my degree in yapology. So like and subscribe if you're new. Don't know why. If you're not new, leave comments and like. It helps the video and might make up for my significant lack of uploading. It kills these channels. I'm completely stagnant because I just don't have time to upload all the time. So any like and comments help. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you on Tuesday for the greatest video of all time.